Hi innovators, it's Dave Casey, founder of the Innovation Leaders Club. In this video, you will learn how to prepare an effective creativity session. It's very funny because I just had a call with a club member who was asking me exactly the same question. And you probably wonder right now, what was my response? One of the clear weaknesses that I see from multiple creativity sessions that I either facilitate or I was part of it, it's people haven't clearly defined the issue they're trying to resolve. In fact, you may call the issue or the opportunity coming from a problem or technology. It could be a new trend or many other reasons why you have an opportunity right now. But you have to clearly understand. But let's say it's a problem. Do we have a clear understanding of that problem? Sometimes problems are simple, sometimes they are more complicated. So there's different techniques to deep dive into the problem. So to get that effective creativity session, we have to have a clear understanding of the root cause of the problem we're trying to solve. So let's have a look.
This video from the Innovation Leaders Club will explain the process and how to prepare an effective creativity session. Creativity is not chaos, and it shouldn't be. When leading creativity sessions, the so-called brainstorming, you must be organized so that the creativity flow is managed to ultimately end up with a prioritized list of the best ideas. Other than that, you will be generating deception. More precisely, the video will cover how to hold a productive brainstorming and creativity session to get appreciable and predictable results out of this powerful innovation source, as well as determining which tool should be used to manage a large pool of ideas that are powerful enough to score, sort, and prioritize them, pushing the best ones further. We have developed a 60-page visual guidebook on how to develop an innovation strategy. It is a fully illustrated step-by-step guide to building the foundation of an innovation system. Click the link in the description below to download it for free. Let's take an electrician installing a light fixture on the ceiling as an example. Let's discuss how to use the 5 whys in determining the root cause. The first part involves meeting with the people familiar with the area in which the problem is related and giving them information to approach and understand the problem. In this example, the electrician reported that he would like a light fixture from the supplier. Meet directly with the customer, ideally in person or by using a remote communication platform such as Teams. Then start asking why. Continue asking why at least 5 times and remember to challenge the resulting answers beyond conventional origins to encourage a thorough search instead of settling for reasons that are known and true. Upon identifying the cause, determine the cause with the most significant impact on the problem and prioritize this. Lastly, find the solution for the most critical issue and analyze its impact and effectiveness. To come back to the light fixture example, by repeatedly asking why to the electrician who made the installation, the lighting company arrives at the underlying root cause of the request. Why would you like a lighter fixture? To make it easier to handle. Why would you like a fixture that's easier to handle? To make it easier to install by holding it with one hand. Why would you like it to be easier to install with one hand? To be able to install it alone. Why would you like to install it alone? By applying the 5 whys analysis, the root cause or the problem to solve is determined. With that in mind, this brings us to find the solution. In this case, when an electrician is making an installation, he could do everything on his own except the fixture installation, which requires 2 people for 30 minutes. However, the real problem is to conceive a fixture that an electrician can install alone. This will reduce the installation cost by having only 1 worker on site instead of 2.
I really like the example of the electrician that we just have seen because it's an example that I faced in the past. But in fact, it was based on a simple problem. Most of the time, problems get a little bit more complicated. So there's multiple root causes And at one point, we have to look what are the links with the different root causes. Is there some affinity between the different root causes that we have in front of us? And this is why we use the affinity diagram techniques. So let's have a look.
Since there's often more than one cause, let's proceed to discuss the affinity diagram and how it is used to determine the major causes. This idea creation method taps a team's creativity and intuition. It was created in the 1960s by Japanese anthropologist Hiro Kawakita. Interestingly, it is still relevant today, considering that everything is getting more complex. The affinity diagram is a simple tool for putting together a significant number of detailed and interrelated causes and grouping them according to broad topics. Furthermore, it analyzes large amounts of data and discovers relationships that allow a design direction based on the association often used to group ideas generated by brainstorming. In addition, this helps in focusing on the bigger picture or the major root causes. The first step in using the affinity diagram involves brainstorming the issues, then recording each of them with a pen on separate notes or cards. Here's an example of the affinity diagram with regards to the causes of substandard customer service. As shown here, there is a random collection of potential causes for possible reasons, including but not limited to untrained staff, low morale, and a lack of a standard system, among others. For the second step in this example, start by looking for causes that may seem related, then place them in one column. The rest of the causes are sorted into related groups. This process is repeated until all the causes are placed in groups. Ideally, all of the causes can be sorted into related groups. However, if some loners do not fit in any of the groups, do not force them, as they may identify under their own header. Lastly, proceed to discuss the headers and identify the major causes by creating the finished diagram. The determined headers include human resource issues, lack of standard process of measurement, workplace culture, resources, and tools, among others. Make sure that you write the major cause at the top of the diagram and place a header card above each group of issues. This will allow the team to review and discuss the points for clarification and documentation. Now that the major causes are identified, it is possible to prioritize ideas and create resolutions for improvement.
Last but not the least, there's a technique that you can use when you're trying to resolve a problem which is very complicated. Most of the time that problems involves like processes, human resources, there's multiple business units involved. And if you're trying to do the affinity diagram, there's not enough logic in the thinking to deep dive into the process. So the last technique is called the Fishbone Diagram, or if you would like to add into your Japanese toolbox, the term Ishikawa can be used in order to really understand a problem which is complicated. So let's have a look.
Next, the Fishbones diagram, or the Ishikawa diagram, is an analysis tool that systematically looks at effects and the causes that create or contribute to those effects. The Fishbone diagram, or the Ishikawa diagram, is used for identifying the root cause of a problematic solution. Never miss a video. Subscribe now and get notifications for real and practical innovation management practices coming directly from club members. Don't forget to click on the link in the description below to access the content discussed in this video. Last but not least, part 3 of the Fishbone diagram involves identifying the root causes in detail. This step is where the brainstorming magnifies. You will identify the possible causes of the problem that may be related to each factor. You will need to visualize each probable cause by drawing shorter lines off each bone of the diagram. At some point, there may be a need to add a more complex sub-branch line coming off of the cause line. In this example, the production readiness in the bones line then branches into the cause lines. An unreliable technology, a rushed development, and too many unknowns. The shorter lines or sub-branch lines from the cause line, labeled unreliable technology, includes both introduced too early or inconclusive testing. Going further, identifying the following causes, then adding them to the fishbone will slowly fill out the fish's skeleton. Here is the same example, this time drawn on a whiteboard during a work session. As an overview, the following tools can be used to identify the real problem, including the 5 whys analysis, Affinity diagram, and Fishbone diagram. The 5 whys analysis can be applied when looking at one major cause that needs drill down to arrive at one root cause. The Affinity diagram can be applied when looking at several interrelated and detailed causes that have some things in common and can be grouped together as major causes. Lastly, the Fishbone diagram can be applied when looking at numerous major causes and needs drilled down to arrive at numerous root causes or causes based on the cause and effect relationships. As for the other approaches, especially for innovation in processes, Lean Sigma DMAIC is a 5-phase method that includes define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. It is the approach applied by Motorola, General Electric, namely GE, and other major companies. The Lean Sigma DMAIC is beneficial when your organization is trying to improve a particular process, such as decreasing the number of defects or increasing overall quality in a product or service. A simple but highly structured approach allows businesses to incline into problem solving and continually improve productivity. The data can be used for other projects, therefore providing a more accurate baseline along the way. Here is a more in-depth discussion of the 5 phases of Lean Sigma DMAIC. During the define phase, the most critical and impactful opportunities for improvement are selected. This phase involves mapping the process along with the focus, scope, and goal to understand how the problem affects all the stakeholders. Start the process by identifying the problem statement. Having a successful define phase will help you move forward with a clear and defined objective and a timeline for project completion. The measure phase is where the baselines are drawn to assess the performance of a given process. Without having sound benchmarks for comparison, it is not easy to track improvements. Remember to use visual management tools such as bar, color, or run charts to achieve better results. The goal of the analyze phase is to identify and test the underlying causes of problems to ensure improvement. This phase will enable you to capture and document opportunities for successful improvement, and the plan of action will begin. With the analysis and data, it is time to make improvements. The improvement phase may involve using management software to create a seamless process and achieve a cross-functional collaboration to make it easier for the management and executives to follow the progress of a DMAIC project. Last but not least, the control phase. The control phase involves making sure the process is under control and ensures its long-term effectiveness. At this stage, you can qualify the complete impact of process changes, cost reduction, efficiency, and more. Another approach growing in popularity is the customer journey mapping. Understanding and empathizing with customers provide a platform for meaningful interaction and successful business outcomes. The customer journey map describes how a customer gets in contact with your organization, its various tasks, emotions, pains, frustrations, or problems, gains, expectations, and key benefits. Ultimately, it is a way to identify opportunities through all 7 steps of the journey. From the moment he identifies a problem or a need, he will look for solutions and evaluate them. He will then make a decision and proceed with an order. He might have to install or implement the solution. He will then enjoy the product or service and might have to change or adapt the configuration during its use. He might also have to perform maintenance, updates, and repairs. And finally, he might have to get rid of the product or service, which involves end-of-life management. It is important to note that there could be more than 7 steps in a specific journey. This process could be increasingly popular amongst club members as the scope of innovation now includes customer experience in many organizations. Hence, exercise is a powerful tool to better understand your customers and ease the way they do business with you, while improving their holistic customer experience with your organization, creating one that they will remember for the right reasons.
Now that we have seen those 3 techniques, I can conclude that I've never seen from the last more than 25 years that I've been working with companies, I've never seen an organization making a conclusion that they have spent too much time deep diving into the issue. In fact, most of the time it's the opposite. We don't invest enough time in this part of the key part of the process, which is in fact before getting into the creativity session itself. There's a famous quote from Albert Einstein that said, if he was to have an hour to resolve a problem, he would use 55 minutes to understand the problem and 5 minutes to resolve it. So if it comes from Einstein, I think it's worth to think about it.
If you haven't already done so, you can get your hands on our popular 60-page visual guidebook for free. Click the link in the description below. Don't hesitate to watch the next video to learn even more about innovation management practices.